Okay, let's get back to the story, guys. As Bjorn's middle finger was raised up high, his mind was racing and worried as he wondered if Erwin had recognized the signal yet, because she's far away. Of course, the red-hair man and his crew didn't know what this meant, and this confused them. While they were confused, Bjorn had no choice but to trust her. So he charged at his enemies with his shield. He rushed towards them, but their leader stopped him by slamming his sword against his shield. Feeling Bjorn's strength, he began to be undermined, so he called his samurai friend for help. While Bjorn was focused on him, the samurai came in swinging his sword, slashing at Bjorn's shield and pushed it out of the way. Bjorn could feel the power of the samurai warrior, but he knew that he couldn't back off. So he decided to be aggressive towards the samurai, but the samurai easily dodged his attacks. However, hitting them is not his original goal. He wants to distract them to make an opening for Erwin. In the midst of the fight, he couldn't help but worry about Erwin. He was worried that she might have been defeated by the crossbow guy, but as he fought, an arrow came flying from behind them. It surprised everyone because it was a crossbow arrow, and it was coming towards their leader. But it was blocked by the shield guy of their team. The shield guy told his squad to focus on Bjorn, and he would focus on blocking any of the arrows coming their way. Both of them rushed towards Bjorn. Bjorn stopped the attack of the red-haired guy with his shield, but he had no chance to fight against both at once. As the samurai guy ran towards him, ready for a killing blow, Bjorn knew what he had to sacrifice. So he protected his back with his left arm, though the poison had already made it useless for this fight. His arm had a huge cut on it now, but he exchanged it for the leader's head, slamming his shield into Redhair's face and sending him flying. So it wasn't a bad trade-off. The samurai guy tried attacking Bjorn, but he dodged it. Then an arrow came flying towards the samurai, and he was shocked. But the shield guy came and blocked it. But he didn't know that the archer they were up against had a fire spirit on her side. Before Bjorn could do anything, another arrow came flying and pierced through the unshielded guy's shoulder. After seeing that things were not looking good for them, Redhair decided to run off and go after Erwin. Bjorn wanted to go and stop him, but he knew he couldn't risk going after Redhair, so he decided to trust Erwin to deal with him herself. He locked his feet into the ground and attacked the samurai guy with full force. But the samurai dodged it at a last moment. However, the samurai was not Bjorn's target from the start. He was aiming for the shield guy. Now, it was just Bjorn, and the samurai left standing. They clashed again, but Bjorn could see that the samurai was trying to buy time for Redhair to come back, so he decided to finish it in one shot, even if it was dangerous. He pretended to swing his shield, but instead he threw it towards the samurai's head, hitting him hard. But if he missed, it would become dangerous for him. Now, he grabbed the samurai guy by his collar, and Bjorn knew that he didn't have much strength left and was about to die if he messed things up. So he lifted him up and pulled him towards his face and literally bit his tongue out of his neck. The barbarian rage had taken over, and he was moving off of pure instinct for survival. Now, both of Bjorn's opponents' bodies were on the ground, and he was left standing alone. Erwin came running to him from behind, tears in her eyes because she was worried about Bjorn's safety. She also killed both of her opponents, and now they had both survived the game of survival one more time. This time, it got a bit too close for comfort, though. As Erwin saw how wounded Bjorn was, she handed him a potion, telling him to drink it immediately. Bjorn was confused because he didn't know that people can drink it. She told him it's better to drink it than to pour it on your wounds, and since he was poisoned, it would clean up his insides too. Bjorn chugged the vial of healing potion and dropped it on the ground as he sat there healing. He could feel his insides boiling, his entire body burning in pain, and his veins were itchy and hot. That's the reason why people pour it on the wound instead of drinking it, even if it has more benefits. While Bjorn was healing, Erwin was next to him, encouraging him. Then he asked her how much time was left. Erwin checked their watch and told him that it was 11:20, which meant that they had 40 minutes until the first floor closed. They did not have any time to rest despite the fight. Then Bjorn asked her to strip, and she had a regular reaction for her standard occurs. She was thinking that he was doing it so suddenly, so he must have a reason for it, and she started taking her top off. Or I was just thinking too much. She is the same Erwin we know. Then Bjorn asked what she was doing and told her that he meant stripping the bodies of the dead guys for items and resources. But now that they had only 40 minutes, Bjorn decided to just take their equipment, magic crystals and backpacks. They didn't have time for other things. So Erwin went to get red hair and crossbow guy's things too. They had only 34 minutes left when Erwin came back with all the stuff. After that, they ran through the forest at top speed. There was only 1 minute left, but they got to the portal of the first floor, and then they jumped into the portal. They managed to come back to the first floor in time. Erwin rejoiced in their success. She had lots of fun. Meanwhile, Bjorn still wondered how she managed to land perfectly every time. She told Bjorn that he did a great job. Then he told her that she did a great job too. Then she leaned in close to Bjorn, asking him what he wanted to say earlier before. But there were less than 10 seconds left before the labyrinth closed. So he told her that they should talk once they were back in Raftonia, but they would both emerge at different locations. So they had to choose some spot for meeting, but Bjorn forgot the name of the tavern. There was no time left, and he was scratching his head in rage because he couldn't remember the name of the tavern. Finally, he remembered and told her to meet him at the Black Whale Tavern once they were out. She happily agreed to it, and their time together in the labyrinth ended. The labyrinth began to close, and he was being transported back to Raftonia. Bjorn emerged back in the city filled with explorers. Now the story is going to be more interesting, my horny friends. But for now, he was back in Raftonia amidst the hustle and bustle of people. It's a place filled with a tremendous amount of people because all the explorers are gathered in one place. But for now, he began to reset his clock because time in the labyrinth flows differently than in the city. No matter how many days you spent in the labyrinth, once you come back to the city, it's always noon on the next day. And you have to reset your clock so that it points to noon. I was curious about one thing. If no matter how many days you spent in the dungeon, you come out the next day and the higher the floor, the more days it takes to close, does it mean you age faster compared to the person outside? Or does the age of the person inside the dungeon not increase? Think the second option is more reasonable. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. Let's get back to the story. In the crowd, he saw a tall barbarian calling out to him, and he wondered what this guy's name was. As the two men shook hands, Bjorn remembered his name as Vanon's second son, Karak, but he was actually the third son. Well, Bjorn always does that. Then another one came, and he was glad to see both safe. This guy's name was Serum, and the name reminded me of something. What about? After that, within a moment, a crowd of barbarians gathered around, surrounding Vanon's second son, Karak, talking about their experience in the labyrinth. He sure was a popular guy, but Bjorn didn't seem to be happy about it. They were having a whole reunion, but I didn't see Aner anywhere. Maybe we'll see her in the future. For now, one of the barbarians challenged Karak to a duel, and Karak accepted it, which was a celebratory barbarian thing. So they all decided to head out to the bravery checkpoint, where they could get their magic crystals counted, as well as talk some more and share their experiences as they walked away. They asked Bjorn if he was coming with them. It didn't really seem like he wanted to, but he obliged anyways, because what else could he do? At the register table, a lady was counting all of the magic crystals. Some had 20,000, some had 30,000, and at the end, Vanon's third son, Karak, stood above them all with 40,000 magic crystals. Everybody was cheering for him, calling him the warrior of warriors. Then Bjorn walked up to the register and dropped a bunch of bags on the counter.